2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. This is one back, walk the ball. Chris Taylor.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Scott Geirman, senior writer, Dodger Blue. I'm here with my good buddy, Blake Williams, managing editor. How we doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good. It's been a pretty active, busy week for me, but I had a day of rest today a bit more and doing good.
Chat, welcome in. Happy Thursday. Congratulations to Shohei Ohtani. We've got a lot of stuff to break down tonight. Blake, real fast, chat, everybody, welcome in. Hello. Blake and I were really, laughing at some of the stuff you guys are saying in chat. We got a lot of good conversation going on. Early super chats, again, toss those in there. It's the best way to get our attention, best way to drive the conversation. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Just do us that quick favor. But Blake, let the chat know and myself give us kind of a rundown of how your off season has been going so far. What have you been going?
Well, for me, it's been kind of weird because usually when the Dodgers season ends, we get like 3 weeks to a month before anything really starts to happen again for Dodger related news. But this off season, since they played so deep into the year, it ended, and then it was like free agency starting. Qualifying offers are due, award seasons coming up and everything. So it's been kind of nonstop. I've had some days of rest here and there. Made it to Disneyland a few times already. Hoping to get out on the golf course soon. But yeah, other than that, just covering events and publishing stories and doing these shows.
What's been the most? We had 2 events recently. You, I believe, were at both. Give a little bit. What do we got?
Yeah, so the first one was Justin Turner's charity event where a bunch of former players and like Corey Seager, Ryan Pepio were there, and then Jerry Hairston, some of the other broadcast guys. A few current players like Chris Taylor and Mookie Betts are out there, and they go golfing, and it's a whole charity event thing. So that was pretty cool. It's nice to see Justin Turner and Corey Seager back in LA. My thoughts are very well known about Corey Seager. Should still be in LA, and you could probably even make that case with Justin Turner too. But it was good to see them. Then the next day, they had their Thanksgiving meal giveaway where they gave away 2,000 turkeys and sides to fans. And Anthony Bonda, Landon Knack, and Tony Gonsolin were out there. So that was a really cool event to see. We have a whole video of that up there with interviews from all of them. So it was good.
It's been good stuff. It's awesome to see, Dodgers continuously giving back, Dodgers Foundation players continuing to show out, new and old, former, everybody just showing out for each other. That's just the camaraderie that these guys have. Again, chat, thank you. If you were tuned in earlier today, I co-hosted Dodgers Territory with Clint Pasillas over on the Foul Territory Network. I appreciate you all tuning in. I know I've got some people supporting. Again, as always, thank you a bunch. I see some of the regulars in. Means a lot. But I've got to come clean with something. Mr. Blake Williams made a special trip out to my house and dropped off the Hello Kitty plushie for my daughter. So all is well. You guys can stop the hate mail. You can call off the hits. He's done it. All is good. Nora is happy. We're locked in. So Blake, thank you. Nora sends her thank yous.
Yeah, it was good because it was right there, a town over from where I was for the Justin Turner event. So worked out pretty perfectly there.
Chat loves it. Beautiful. All right. We've got a lot of stuff to get into tonight, and I've got something to bring up later on that I know you're going to probably throw that hat across the room just for bringing it up. But the biggest news of the day, Shohei Ohtani wins the unanimously wins the National League MVP award. Blake, why is this so significant just beyond joining Frank Robinson as the only 2 players in Major League history to win an MVP award in both the National League and the American League?
Yeah, so he's the 13th Dodger to win it and the 15th time a Dodger has won it in history. He's the first since Cody Bellinger. I believe he's the 12th in MLB history that has won it at least 3 times now. And he's won it unanimously all 3 times he's won it, which that's incredible, like remarkable to even think about. So he's the second player to win in consecutive seasons with different teams, joining Barry Bonds, who won it with the Pirates and Giants. So aside from just winning the MVP, he did a lot of other stuff winning the MVP that put him in the history books. And like he had to, that was his historic season capped off with historic awards. He won pretty much every award there was He won the Hank Aaron Award, the Edgar Martinez Award, the Outstanding NL Player for the Players' Choice Awards, the Sporting News Player of the Year. He won a Silver Slugger. He was selected to the All MLB team, World Series champion, of course. Like, just a great season for him in the award category, aside from what he actually did on the field.
Just something I see, people acknowledging, it's just that nobody should be surprised. Unanimous across the board. You got to see some second place votes for Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those voters valued offense more than just defense. Francisco Lindor finishes in second place. Ketel Marte, I believe, slotted in third place there. But just ballots that made sense, which was good. Shohei Ohtani put up a remarkable season, something I will never forget. Chat, we see the support. It's been unbelievable. And the first season for Shohei Ohtani in a situation where he's able to, one, get paid, he's able to allow the Dodgers a unique situation to bring in talent around him. He's in an organization that is built to win, sustainable winning, in an environment that pushed them towards a first World Series title for Shohei Ohtani. Just a storybook type of season, Blake. So tonight is a night that I waited for. It was great to see all the graphics everyone put up, Major League Baseball, all the videos coming out, and good to see Shohei Ohtani kind of have that moment. He was sitting there with his wife and Decoy, which was great. You love that, huh?
Yeah, though Decoy jumped away out of the scene. He was camera shy this time. I guess he's a little too over the limelight.
If there was any, past Shohei, you're good with the rest of the voting on there? Or you didn't look too much into it?
I didn't look a ton into it. I mean, the first one's the only one that really matters. I was a little surprised Lindor didn't go unanimous for second place just because all the narratives that were around it. But I mean, Ketel Marte had a really good season. I saw Teoscar got an 8th place vote by a Colorado beat writer. So that was pretty cool to see. I was a little shocked he was on any ballot. But yeah, not too many major surprises on it.
Yeah, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Teoscar Hernandez all received votes within the top 10 of Major League, the most valuable player voting. Yes, Windy City. Shohei Ohtani is the first designated hitter to win an MVP, breaking those barriers, breaking down that wall, man. That surprise you at all? That it took this long, or it took a season like this for it to do it? Because Big Papi David Ortiz had some years where it felt like he, could have crashed that party, but it took a season like this, right?
I mean, I'm a little surprised and also not surprised for a long-time voters have highly valued defense and stuff like that over what offense should be valued at. So not totally surprised. I would say the stolen bases probably really played into it. I think if he didn't have the stolen base total, it might have been closer with Lindor or even Ketel Marte. I think if Mookie Betts didn't get hurt, he would have been a real name in the conversation to finish in the top 3 there, and he could have stolen it from Ohtani just based on having the defensive element alone. So I think a lot of things played into it. I'm a little surprised, but also, like, at the same time, not fully surprised by it, because voters in the past have had some weird takes and opinions on things and have kind of let that control a lot of their voting. So I think we've kind of moved on past that a bit more so now.
So the final line for Shohei Ohtani's 2024 season, batted .310. He had a .390 on base, .646 slugging, 38 doubles, 7 triples, 54 homers, 134 runs scored, 130 RBIs. Finishes with a 181 WRC plus with 59 steals and a collective 9.1 WAR. So the trophy case for Shohei Ohtani this year, NL Hank Aaron Award, Edgar Martinez Outstanding DH, NL Outstanding Player of the Year for the Players' Choice Awards, Sporting News Player of the Year, 3rd Silver Slugger, and he was selected to the All MLB team. Doesn't get much better than that. 10 years, $700 million. A grip of it's deferred. What a way to start, Shohei. I have nothing else to say about it. There's nothing else to talk about it. He was exceeded every single expectation we could have imagined, Blake. Even if you thought that he was, saying he was the greatest player, it was a matter of seeing it and saying, damn, man, this guy can do this.
Yeah, I called him the greatest player of all time a lot before he signed with the Dodgers, and then right when he signed, and even he exceeded my expectations I'm sure he exceeded the expectations of the front office and Dave Roberts. And it's just because he did stuff you've never seen before that no one's ever done. And you're like, it's possible with Shohei Ohtani. He can pretty much do anything on a baseball field, but to actually see it happen is like remarkable still. So it was an incredible season. It felt like every show we came on, we were talking about new ways to describe how amazing Ohtani is. So yeah, it's a much deserved award for him.
I think that, and I know you can agree with this as well, and chat, you too, that his personality came out to such a degree that it just made it so much better. That he's such a joyous person, and that we all talked about his emotion that we saw, at times when he was with the Angels, but in the WBC in particular, that he's got, he's a goofball when he wants to be, and he's one of the boys, he's one of the guys in the clubhouse, but he's one of the most fiercest competitors. So it's just a very, just like you said multiple times, he's that unicorn type of player where he can be, a joy in the clubhouse, a fierce competitor on the diamond, show that all the time, give a bunch to his teammates in terms of advice, intensity, and then to back it up. Ira says he's adorable, and he's got the best pup. First team all pup, Blake?
Yeah, Decoy is a great dog. I'm still putting him below Kylo with my bias, and I'm sure you're putting Decoy below your dog.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit there. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Chat, again, welcome. We appreciate you. We're going to let you kind of trickle in here. I know there's a couple games going on. We got Thursday Night Football and also the Lakers currently at the moment. But again, best way to get a hold of us is Super Chat. Toss us those. We'll direct the conversation that way. We'll pause, take a second. Appreciate you. But the first kind of, something that Blake and I have debated for a bit. We did it on our last show this past Thursday. And I was on with Jeff and Anthony the other night. Actually last night. Dodgers meet with Blake Snell, chatting with Corbin Burnes and Max Fried. Kind of kick this conversation off, Blake. What does it speak to you? This is going directly in that rumor we had about the Dodgers attacking the front end starting pitching market. Stay away from Sasaki right now. But of these names here, where do you think the Dodgers kind of stray? And give me some of the pluses and the minuses of, this conversation about Blake Snell, Corbin Burnes, and Max Fried.
Yeah, so loaded question there. A lot to get into. I think what Matt was saying on the last show is kind of how I agree with it. They're going to watch the market for all three players, and then the one that lines up the most with what they're looking to do and what they like is the one they're going to go out and get. I think Blake Snell is the one that makes the most sense for them because he's probably going to get the shortest term deal, maybe the highest AAV because of that, and that really lines up with what they usually like to do. We know the upside is there. High strikeout pitcher. Walks are concerning, but he's been relatively injury-free for most of his career. Hasn't been anything too major you have to worry about. Had some minor injuries last year, but nothing that really slowed him down or affected him too much. So if you're looking for a guy who's going to come in and be a relatively healthy piece for your rotation, I think Snell would be a good fit. Same with Corbin Burnes. He's thrown a lot of innings. I think with my concern with Burnes is his stuff has been declining a little bit. His strikeout rate has dropped. I would say he's still been really effective in that time, so it's not like a major red flag, but if you're giving a guy a 7-year deal and projecting down the line, you're not paying for the last 5 years, you're paying for the next 7. So you do have to calculate that in and add into that concern, but he is a workhorse. He's been really good for a long time now, and he's going to get paid very well. Whoever signs him is going to be happy with him. You're probably going to have a few really good years of him. Then maybe there might be a bit more of a decline and drop off there. And then with Max Fried, he's really consistent. He's a really good pitcher. He's had elbow, forearm issues. So I'm kind of staying away from him due to that stuff. Strikeout rate isn't great. Walk rate's really good. He gets a lot of ground balls. So that's how he's been so successful. Yep. But I'm still just kind of weary of paying a guy who has had those elbow forearm concerns.
So we'll start with, I really want to just start with Corbin Burnes and then make our way through because a lot of the people chatting, I see you backing up Snell. We'll get to it. I got you. With Corbin Burnes, if you're asking for a workhorse, he's the definition of it. since from 2021 through this past year, he has, we'll go straight through 28 starts, 33 starts, 32 starts, 32 starts with a combined 2.94 ERA. He's got an expected FIP of 3.15, like as good as it gets for you, remarkable consistency in terms of being on the field and powering his way through this stuff. So when it comes to wanting a workhorse, it doesn't get much clearer than that, right? So does that matter to you? Like, does having that availability matter? Or are you purely looking at just the stuff and what he can give? Because I would say yes. Like if the metrics are showing slight, like a little bit of regression, I think that it's something to note. But I think with a workhorse and someone like Corbin Burnes, getting him in the Dodgers organization, I think you just have to purely bank on having an uptick here. Am I incorrect for saying that, or where can you kind of put me in a direction where I'm not so in on Corbin Burnes?
I mean, I agree. I think he would be better with the Dodgers, although he's still been really good. So it's not like he's going to come in and completely change something and then just become the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he can bring his strikeout rate back up a little, he'd probably go back to being a top 3 pitcher in baseball. Right now, I'd put him just outside of that range, I think, just because of the decline in strikeouts. But I believe he also made a comment about how he was focusing on pitching deeper into games rather than just trying to get strikeouts, which could play into it. I think the Dodgers would probably tell him, no, we want the strikeouts, go back to trying to do that. So we would have to see if it's still like, I guess it's how much they believe in that versus like a decline in stuff.
Sure.
But considering what the Dodgers have, you could definitely make the case that the availability, the innings pitch is way more valuable to them than the upside, because we know they have Tyler Glass now. We know they have guys with high upside in their rotation. And at some point, you do just need guys who are going to come in and pitch innings for you. We saw last year they didn't have that at all for a very long stretch of the season, and they were searching constantly. And there's not many better inning eaters than Corbin Burnes. If there are any, there's probably not one. So he is very intriguing in that sense. He's also a Southern California guy.
Yep.
He alluded to wanting to join the Dodgers when they won the World Series, putting out the eye emoji on that tweet that they won. So it makes sense. I just think Snell might be the better fit for them, but it's still kind of like a toss-up for me, maybe like 60-40 type thing. Like if they sign Corbin Burnes, I'd be really happy about it. And I think every fan should be as well. It's just you're picking a bunch of guys who have their own concerns and saying, like, this is the contract we think they're going to get. This is their concerns. This is the positives to them. What one do we like the best, and go from there.
Agreed. And we've chatted about this a bunch, and we're trying to hammer this into, the chat as much as we can. There's a lot of name power here. It's hard to, the negatives that you'll find. I don't know if I've seen ones where it's like, aside from like Max Fried, where it's like, I don't, shifting off of a player. There's stuff I can live with a lot of these guys. In Corbin Burnes, it's providing a workhorse who's going to go out there and, like he's done, make 32 starts. Yep. I mean, the health has been there. It's going to be there by all accounts. But again, I think that you just have to gauge what you value more, which brings us to the super chat from John from before we even went live. They need a left-handed starter. Current staff are all right-handed pitchers until Kershaw returns. He's more concerned about the outfield, especially if Mookie Betts goes to second base. So we'll isolate the first part. And that brings us to, a conversation that you've kept, you put your honesty out there about it not mattering, about a left to right, and how opposing lineups really have to kind of shuffle their deck when you put the lineup card in, right? And that brings us to Blake Snell. Someone who you value, I value a lot, and chat, same type of thing here. Speak to this question directly. And John, again, thank you for this big time super chat. And thank you for the support. But take it, Blake. With Blake Snell, this kind of fits right in. Disgusting stuff. Like 5 and dive, kind of for a lot of teams is a bad thing because they don't have the back end pitching to carry that load. But for a team like the Dodgers and their ability to kind of work with those players, what better 5 and dive, 6 and dive? Like, are you getting them Blake Snell? Go away. Go your thing. Do your thing.
There's probably not anyone better in that sense that you're talking about, like short outings, but elite dominant. I think to answer the super chat, I personally don't care if they have a lefty in the rotation. I've made that case a lot. for me, it's just get the best starters you can and go from there.
Yeah.
Like they just won the World Series without a left-handed starter. I think it's kind of an overrated thing. Most teams are platooning and making changes every day anyway, so it's not like every team has a set lineup and then you're eliminating their lefties essentially that night. Like they're going to make changes in platoon and match up against whoever you have out there. The Dodgers do that really well, we see. So I don't think the importance of a lefty is a huge thing. I know a lot of people like it for the balance and all that, and there might be a slight uptick in like performance just taking a guy out of the lineup for one day. Like for the Dodgers in the past, Jock Peterson would always come out and that ended up hurting them sometimes. But
yeah,
if you're talking about like an average lefty versus an elite righty, you're going to take the elite righty and build that all righty rotation. The difference here is Snell is also elite, so that might play into it a little bit more. Like if you want the lefty, I get it, but I think Snell is the top option for them regardless of what hand he throws with. I like the strikeout numbers, the dominance he's had, the relatively healthy injury history there. So I just think he's a really great fit for the team. And I know they've wanted him in the past. They tried to get him last offseason. They showed interest in him at the trade deadline. He's someone they've wanted. He's someone they've valued. So I just think it's a really good fit for both sides.
I totally agree. And Blake Snell wields an arsenal that's absolutely disgusting. You know, he's a big strikeout guy. We understand the walk issues for sure. But his stuff when it plays in the zone, it's second to none. Like he's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and he's continued to do it. And I think if people are purely looking at, you know, longevity and how much he's done here, I mean, you go back to, we'll give him the same sample from 2021. Games started for Blake Snell, 27, 24, 32. And this year he made 20 starts for the San Francisco Giants. So as far as like health concerns, we chatted right before. Blake Snell hasn't dealt with an arm injury since 2019. So that's great. His abductor has been a thing he's dealt with a few times, 2021, 22, and 2024. But as far as everything else, he's been on the field. He has a above average fastball according to IVB, induced vertical break, and he's as good as it gets in terms of getting a strikeout. And we've all seen how strikeouts are king in a lot of other ways, but walks can kill you. So what I need you to do now, Blake Williams, is convince me that Blake Snell is the guy, has to be the guy, and is the number one on your board, if that's kind of how you're telling me.
I mean, even with the walks, he has a low career 3 ERA. His FIP in the low threes. He threw 180 innings a year ago before he missed the start of the season, then kind of dealt with the groin issue and stuff to start the year. Caused him to miss some time this year, but his walk rate was down by almost a full walk this year, more than a walk. It went from 4.95 in 2023 when he was still elite to 3.81 this year, and he brought up his strikeout numbers. I mean, he is a guy who is going to be dominant in a short period of time. And the innings, like, if you want to talk about the innings as a concern, piggyback him with Landon Knack every game. Let Snell go 5 innings, let Landon Knack go 4 innings, and then go to the closer. And you're probably going to win more often than not with that kind of plan. And I just think you'd never want to pay a pitcher a long-term deal. Ideally, like, pitchers break. It's just what happens. We've seen that a lot. We've talked about that a lot. So if you can get a pitcher on a 3 or 4 year deal as opposed to 6 or 7, that's really beneficial, especially when he's going to go into his age 32 season. This is a Dodger team that is a bit on the older end overall. So at some point, you're going to need to start trending toward a youth movement, getting some younger players in there. But Snell lines up really well with that like timeline that we've talked about. The next 3 or 4 years is their best chance to win another 2 rings. So you bring him in, you let him work, and you go from there.
And he's had production in the playoffs. Let's not act like that's not something he hasn't done. And I think consistent playoff performers, it never hurts them when you're looking at a player and you're saying, okay, we've seen how good he can be in the playoffs. We've seen that before. So he knows when that pressure's on, he knows how to go in there. So I believe working into it, the Dodgers are going to find the best out of him and get the best out of him. So when the time comes, you navigate your way. And Blake, I think let's highlight this real quick here. As far as like a 6-man rotation, this would be great for a pitcher like Blake Snell, who hasn't had a big time workload I mean, let's say the most innings he threw in his career, uh, he's touched the 180 mark twice, and that was in 2023 and then way back in 2018. This year was 104 innings, and then, wouldn't that it would do nothing but benefit him for the Dodgers to be on that type of thing?
I think so. I think it's going to benefit every pitcher. We saw this year often with Jack Flaherty when he was on like the normal rest, his ERA was in the sevens or something like that. And when he was on the extended rest, his ERA was probably in the twos or something like that. Like it was just a huge difference. We know the Dodgers are going to be on that 6-man rotation with Ohtani coming back and for Yamamoto and everyone else they have all the injury concerns in the rotation. Tyler Glass now specifically too. So you that's why Corbin Burnes does make sense for the team. I'll go back to that point too. Like he's going to give you a lot of innings. Snell, you have to work him in a little bit more, but I do think it benefits him being in that 6-man rotation as well.
Yeah, it's such a big deal because if they're already trending that way, but it also creates another list of not problems, another area of need, which, chat, you guys are on this too. It's no, so if the report like from Jeff Passan about the Dodgers looking for those front end guys, those high end starting pitchers, front of the rotation, ace level guys. I've asked a couple people about this. I asked Clint Pasillas that this morning. If you're putting like the front end guy, like the Blake Snells, the Corbin Burnes, the Max Frieds on one end, and then Sasaki there on one end, that's got to be like straight down the middle, right? Like going for both of those, like that, both of those needs fall right into that front end, ask or the inquiry that the Dodgers currently have. So I would say it's more that if the Roki Sasaki is going to be pushing that on, towards the 2025 deadline here, I think the Dodgers are very much at like we already see the reports. I think they are deadlocked in on bringing in another front end guy. 100%. Like I think they will leave this offseason with an ace. Have to.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet. And to tie that into this, answer this one, wouldn't it be better for the Dodgers to settle with Sasaki before trying to sign a player who rejected the qualifying offer? I don't think it impacts it either way. They could sign Burnes or Fried and still sign Sasaki. Snell does not have the qualifying offer on him, so he's in the separate category than this question, but they could still sign Snell and Sasaki. I think that's kind of their goal. They probably need 2 starting pitchers this offseason. They might even bring in 3. And that's not even talking about Clayton Kershaw, who we know is coming back. So I don't think Sasaki affects anything. He's going to get $3 million, $4 million, and the other guys are going to get normal contracts. So I don't think they're connected at all.
And I'm just going to, I had the Dodgers depth chart here for their starting pitchers. And if you look at up and down, you're talking Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, who we won't see for a bit. I don't know how long, but it will be, at least the front end of the regular season, right? And then Tyler Glasnow, who you have to monitor. They definitely will because you don't know how his elbow is going to be. Tony Gonsolin, he's going to get put, from what you said, square right back in the rotation, or that's the plan. Bobby Miller, we have no clue what you're going to get out of him. Who knows? We'll see it in spring training, kind of what the plan. And then Dustin May, what's the workload going to be? Landon Knack, who we've seen it. So there are a fair amount of question marks, Blake. There really are a fair amount of question marks. So I think to what you said, 2 will be good. The 2 arms will be good, but they might even go 3. And that's where Walker Buehler gets into the conversation. That's where we start chatting about that. A reunion there makes a lot of sense. He showed that he can take on a bit of the workload, in his return from his second Tommy John. And I'm damn curious, Blake, about that second part of his career. Different conversation though. But yes, you're locked in. It's got to be at least 2, and then 3 if they decide to bring Buehler back or go for another buy low person, right?
Yeah, I think so. And some of it might depend on who they get. If they get a Corbin Burnes, that might say like maybe we're okay not getting the third one because we figure he's going to throw 180 innings as opposed to betting on someone else. Like if they want to count Sasaki in that, if they end up getting him, you kind of don't know what you're fully getting there. So then you might want to bring in the third guy. You don't know the innings you're going to get. You don't know how effective he's going to be necessarily. So if they get the safer options, they might settle with 2. If they go more high risk, then they might say, okay, let's bring in a third guy. And also to follow up with Scarlet Blue, yes, they'd lose money from their bonus pool, but I don't think it matters all that much for Sasaki. If he's signing where he feels like it's the best fit for him, he's already passing up quite a bit of money to come to the major leagues early. I don't think like $1 million is going to change all that much for him. Like if he wants to go to the Dodgers and they're offering him $3 million, but the Padres are offering him $4 million, I think he's still going to pick where he wants to go rather than just chasing the extra million.
Yeah, it's a great point. Scarlett as well. Great question. That's a really good little tidbit there. Something that I don't know how much it'll impact. I don't think much to the point where it's going to say they're going to deter themselves away from signing a Corbin Burns or somebody with the qualifying offer there. But it definitely is a good point. It's just it's an ongoing conversation and looking at the risks in the contract and understanding that if they want a horse, if they want somebody who's going to be out there and gives you the ability to go 8, like we're talking 8 innings. Corbin Burns goes out there. If in the middle innings he's getting hit around a bit, gets out of it, you let him go. You don't look to pull him. You let him go through it because he's done it for a bit. So that, to what you said earlier about the kind of the slowdown in the strikeouts, to what Corbin said about looking to go deeper into games there, it's a quality that you just don't see very often. And it's something that, I mean, is it a concern? Who knows? But he's been hyper consistent. One of the best in Major League Baseball doing so. So he's at the front end of the workhorse. If you want pure stuff and kind of a shorter contract, then you're going to look at a guy like Blake Snell, which is why we're purely on that. We're totally on Blake Snell, without a doubt. And Max Fried, he's kind of the one where we're both really iffy on it. Chad, anybody in here have Max Fried as their number one option? I really haven't seen that. I think the concerns of and the recency bias of what happened in the playoffs and going through that has kind of pushed him a little bit out of the way. I'm really curious to see if there's anybody who has Max Fried purely based on stuff and upside at the number one spot. Blake, is he even anywhere near that for you? Or is he 3? Or is he 4?
He might be 4 for me based on the contract he's going to get behind Nick Pivetta, who we talked about last time. I think Fried is the better pitcher. That's very clear. I'm not debating that Pivetta's better, but when you're considering contracts and everything that goes into it, I don't think I really want them to sign Fried at all. He's a really good pitcher. I just don't love the stuff. The strikeout rate isn't good. He's a ground ball pitcher, so that's why he's been good, and he's fine. He's just not the type of pitcher I would like them to go out and sign and pay. And then they have the arm issues to look into and all that. So
Sure.
I just don't really love the idea, but if they do sign him and they think he's the best guy, I'm not going to complain about it either because he is really good. It's just the other 2 options I think are significantly better.
Scarlett puts another one in here. Like Max Fried, just wrong timing for a match. Definitely. It's at a spot where the Dodgers, to what Blake said, handing out that money to someone, Max Fried is a terrific talent, but he's going to be going into his age 31 season. And market projections on Spot Track have him at around 6 years, north of 130 million. So about a little over 22.7 AAV. It's just a hefty amount to someone who you hope is staying healthy. And with how Tyler Glass now went, you just can't afford that to do it again. You need someone who has avoided those injuries. Corbin Burns. You've had someone like Blake Snell who hasn't had those arm injuries since 2019. He's had dealt with the abductor thing, but just not something as a big concern. So I would say if they're dipping their feet in that top end market, I see people bringing up Garrett Crochet. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight, but yes, he is an option if they want to go the trade route. But I would say Blake Snell, Corbin Burns, and then go from there. Definitely go from there. And then Walker Buehler is right there for me, man. I have Walker Buehler number 3. That surprise you? Hearing that from me? Does that surprise you at all? You think I'd have Jack Flaherty in there or somebody else?
I've heard you talk enough about Walker Buehler that it doesn't surprise me. But I think if we think logically through it, it should surprise me.
Okay. I just think that if you look at purely the stuff, the front end guys they have when they're at peak, like Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, I think that, and Tyler Glass now, come on, I think they could get away with having Walker Buehler say as their 4 or their 3 for a bit. And then Tony Gonsolin's been good enough. Guys, it's not that Blake hates Walker Buehler. It's he's the one who he'll bring a lot of logic to it and look at just what he's seen in the projection. Just basically going off saying Walker Buehler's a dog is a lot to like hand some money to. But I think it speaks to a lot to what he's done in the playoffs. I think there's a lot of value to that. And he also, I'm very curious, and so are teams around the league. And which is why I think like a 1-and-1 type of deal, 1 year. I saw somebody ask like if it 15 million a year for Walker Buehler was too much. I would pay that. For where starting pitching has been, I would pay 15 million for one, have a mutual option for a second year, and go from there. I just gotta have it, Blake. There's too much intrigue for me to let him go. Gotta have it, man.
I
You
mean,
gonna block me? You gonna block me later for this?
no, but like I'm looking at the projection systems. They have him as like a 7K per nine, 3 walk per nine, mid 4 ERA type pitcher. He had a 5 ERA, mid 5 ERA last year. And
Where's
I
the
know he's
dog
coming
at?
back off Tommy John, but I think there is something to a second Tommy John making him far less effective. I've noted that a lot. And I know his playoffs were good, but I'm not paying a player based on 10 good innings in the postseason after he was really bad and felt like he was going to get cut for 75 innings of the year. Like, I felt like when they first signed Joe Kelly, they paid him because of his playoff performance, and that contract really didn't work out all that much. A lot of teams have paid guys based on playoff performances, and then it doesn't work out. So I'm just very hesitant to say they should go sign him based on his little playoff performance. It was great. It was awesome. He was fantastic in the playoffs. I just don't think that's enough to justify signing him to an extension.
It's fair. It's fair critique. Fair insight. I just gotta see it. For someone who's at the middle of the rotation, back end of the rotation, for the names and the potential of the guys they're bringing in, I think I can live with it. And I don't think it's crazy to say there's enough there to do it. It's the upside of somebody who you're willing to hand the ball to the last out of the World Series. Like that's the type of trust they have in him. I know it was to the point where it's you might have not had anybody left, and that gave you the biggest thing, but it says a lot to it. I'm just talking about the peak, Blake. We've seen it. When I can measure dog from what I've seen in the playoffs, I've seen the dog. I've seen that come out in him. And that's me just saying, yeah, I've got to keep him in house.
I mean, I'd also say like we didn't see any dog out of Mookie Betts, and then he stepped it up this year. Freddie Freeman was awful in 2023, stepped it up this year. Like the past playoff performance doesn't always indicate what they're going to do in the future. And if Bueller doesn't have a significant increase in stuff, I just don't see him being elite in the playoffs for much longer. Like he might have some good outings here and there. Things might go right for him from time to time, but I just don't think it's going to be consistent, and especially not in the regular season where we already saw he was very inconsistent and dealing with issues. I don't know. Like I said, the reason for me wanting Snell is because I like signing pitchers based off the stuff, the strikeout ability, and Walker Buehler just isn't that guy anymore. So that's where I'm really hesitant to go give him a contract.
Fair. I like this one. It's time the only thing you and I have really like debated back and forth on, and it's not even like getting into it. It's just to what Scarlett said in chat. I think there's enough. I think there's enough of intrigue there. We got a couple super chats here. Rich, I'm gonna toss this in, and I'm not touching the Soto topic tonight, but to take this with a huge grain of salt. New York Post reporting that Soto caused issues in the clubhouse. Invest in healthy arms. Take care of Walker Buehler and Teoscar Hernandez. Rich, again, shout out to you for tuning in to Dodgers territory earlier. I appreciate you getting, midday with Scotty. Thanks, man. Where did this get reported? Did you see this?
I
haven't
did
seen
not.
this.
I'm trying to find it right now. If you want to tell us where to find it, that would be cool.
Yeah, Rich, I think Rich just has a vendetta against Juan Soto. That's okay. I get it.
My joking thing here would be like, I don't take the New York Post all that seriously. It's not high quality reporting more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
I think they also don't want to lose Juan Soto from their market, so they're very close with the Yankees or the Mets, and one of those front offices might be saying, hey, you want to throw this out and we'll kind of hook you up for the next scoop type thing. Like there's reasons for a New York paper to leak that kind of thing. keep him away from the Dodgers. The Dodgers might see that and say, well, is there clubhouse issues? The Red Sox might see it and say, like, do we really want to sign this guy? So, yeah, I think there's probably more going on here than just straight up, like, Soto causing clubhouse problems and they're hearing it from players and coaches and stuff like that. I'm sure it's some kind of a front office leak, something like that. So I don't really buy into it, but I didn't read it. So, but like he said, yeah, and he's pointing out, take it with a grain of salt.
Have to. Yeah, I mean, Rich, I think like Walker Buehler going out, he's going to gauge the market, come back to the Dodgers. I think so. I think they're going to gauge the market, come back in. Yeah, Rich, I got you, buddy. 100%. You're chilling. It's going to be about gauging the market, come back, can Dodgers match it, come close. And Teoscar Hernandez, yes. Aside from checking out what they have with Juan Soto, Teoscar Hernandez will be a Dodger. I don't see a way they let him go if he's on the table. If they don't get Juan Soto, you have to sign Teoscar Hernandez for sure. All right. Great. NS is going to troll me tonight. Relax. Not talking Juan Soto. There's nothing else to talk about Juan Soto. We know what type of player he is. He had meetings. Skip from there. All right. But to stay with Walker Buehler, this is a funny one. Kind of fits his personality too. Walker Buehler declines to play in Sacramento. Tell me about this. You told me pre-show about this thing, and I had no clue.
Yeah, so the A's manager, Mark Kotsay, was talking, and he said they were trying to sign Buehler. They were talking to him. They were interested in him. But Buehler, like, straight up told them, I don't want to play in Sacramento, and that kind of shut down the discussions there. So definitely fits into his personality. I think that's something that A's and the Rays are both going to see a lot this offseason. Like, players aren't going to want to go there and play in a minor league ballpark, which the A's did it to themselves. That's on them. The Rays, pretty unfortunate with the hurricane destroying their stadium, essentially. Like, so two different situations there, but yeah, we're going to see a lot of that this offseason where players are just going to decline to go there, and we already know both those franchises don't spend a lot of money, so it's going to make it nearly impossible for them to sign anyone, bring in free agents.
Chad, you guys are being so harsh on Sacramento. Don't blame them. Blame the A's. Blame A's ownership. It's not their fault. It's not the Rays' fault. There's a hurricane there. That's super unfortunate. But yeah, it'll definitely impact. I think so. It definitely will. I don't know if that was on record, but you spoke with some former Dodgers about the situation with the Rays. And tell me a little bit about that if you can.
Yeah, so me and Matt were talking to Ryan Pepio at the golf tournament thing, and he was basically just saying, like, the players don't have any more info than what the fans have at this point about their stadium and how everything's going to work. So it just leaves a lot of question marks there. Like, it's going to be hard for them to go out and sign players when it's like, we're going to be playing in a minor league park. Come play with us. Well, how's it going to work out? Is the clubhouse going to be small? Like, how is everything just going to manage? Because there's a lot of things going on in a major league clubhouse. In the back rooms, they've got the chefs and everything. They've got the laundry areas, the video rooms, just so much stuff going on. So you're not going to have that as much in a minor league clubhouse, and it's just going to make things really difficult, really crowded. It's not going to be a great atmosphere for players, so it's tough.
I was thinking that Walker Buehler would look at that and say, he'd look up in that major league stadium or in that minor league stadium. He'd say, Blake, these lights aren't bright enough for me. I need those major league stadium bright lights in October where it matters. And that's where he's going to do it with the Dodgers. Yeah. You okay?
I mean, Buehler is a Vandy boy. Like, he probably had a better clubhouse than what the A's are going to have while he was in college. So it seems like a huge step down for him from college level. So
yeah, when I think of these things, I just feel for the people in the area that have jobs that work at the stadiums and concessions and stuff like this, working all that. Like, just unfortunate for those type of people. Every time I think of like a team relocating or going somewhere else, that's the type of people I feel about. I don't care about the players. They're in the major league. They're in the major leagues. Like, they'll figure it out. They'll get their stuff. They'll have the accommodations to make things work. But I just feel for the area. That's kind of where my mind directly goes there. But yeah, Walker Buehler. He's not playing there. Lights aren't bright enough. He needs major league lights in October. Game 1. Not game 1. Game 3. the dog.
If everyone's healthy in the Dodgers rotation and they get like one of the top end starters,
He's
Walker
like a 4.
Buehler's probably not making the rotation. I don't even know if
He's
he's a 4.
he's going to be there, Blake. Walker Buehler, 21.
I don't know. You
What
got
does an offseason
Ohtani.
do to me, man?
You got
One World
Ohtani.
Series.
Okay,
Huh?
just listen. You got Ohtani, Yamamoto, Glasnow, and whoever they sign. You're not putting Walker over any of those guys. Then you're
No
talking
loyalty.
about, is he your 5? You also have Kershaw, May, Gonsolin, maybe Sasaki.
May's in the bullpen. Gonsolin's getting traded.
So Kershaw and Sasaki are out.
Walker Buehler's making the Dodgers rotation. Next question. All right, Freedom with the super chat here. Why is it harder for ownership to lock up deals? I think he's probably saying with Teoscar Hernandez and Walker Buehler for sure. No Soto. He is like water and oil. They don't mix. Tired of the winner's drama. Sign them. This is a loaded super chat here, Freedom, but we appreciate you. Shout out to Freedom, Blake Trinan. I don't think it's not harder to lock them up. It's that they have number one priorities, and Blake will co-sign this and add on that front offices have a running line of communication with these players' agents and tell them they have a couple things they have to check in with. They're going to keep you in the loop. They have a couple different dominoes that need to fall before they can, have those other pieces, other boxes to check. Blake, add on with that. We're on the right line, huh?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily harder for them to lock up those guys. Like we've seen in the past, they've given extensions to Trinan mid-season, Max Muncy during the season. I think Daniel Hudson might have got one during the season. Like they've got deals done with their guys. Right now, I really think Teoscar hasn't been signed because they were going to check in on the Soto market and be players there. And if you re-sign Teoscar, it kind of takes yourself out of that. They like having flexibility to do things. They don't want to be locked into any one thing, especially this early while there's so much out there. Kind of goes same with Buehler. If they want to go get Corbin Burns and someone else, you're not really going to want to lock in Buehler at this point. You want to leave your options open.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking. They know they're not going to lose Buehler without getting the chance to make an offer, or Teoscar without the chance to match. It's just the situation where they have a lot of options and they're working through all of them. They're negotiating with tons of people, talking the trade route as well. And whatever lines up ends up being what they go with. But right now, it's just really early. Guys usually don't sign until like the winter meetings. So the only guys that have signed right now are Travis d'Arnaud,
Kyle Hendricks,
I think. Did Jorge Soler sign?
He got traded.
He got traded, right? So like not much
has happened.
Happens. Like it is what it is at this point. It's just kind of a waiting game. It's not like the NFL where every free agent signs in the first 2 days. Baseball's always been a very slow process, and that's just how it always goes.
Yeah, definitely. That's just how it is. Freedom, thank you for super chat here. Definitely appreciate the support. Absolutely. Roki Sasaki, man. The rumors and the back and forth stories keep on going on. Evan Drellich of The Athletic, he had something. He alluded to the fact that the Dodgers might have like a handshake agreement with Roki Sasaki here, heading into what will now be what Rob Manfred announced, that Roki Sasaki won't be posted until the 2025 international signing period here. So we won't hear anything from Roki Sasaki about signing until I believe until January 15th at least. So it waits till there, and that's when the international bonus pool money opens back up. The Dodgers will stay, at a very competitive spot. They'll be around 5.1 million in terms of the bonus pool money they'll have. But the top end teams at the high end will have around 7.5. As far as what the money is, it's not that big a deal, because if Roki were to have signed now, they were at 2.5 million left in the international signing bonus money. So when you think about that, a team at the very high end or a team right there, it doesn't make that much difference, Blake. What's the biggest impact here? And speak to Evan Drellich's report about the Dodgers having perhaps a handshake agreement there.
Yeah, so Sasaki's agent, Joel Wolf, who's also Yamamoto's agent, really called that out and pushed back on it, saying that's not true. Like, it would be illegal and against the rules for them to have an agreement with him already. So if that was the case, a lot of people would be getting in trouble, and I don't think either side would be willing to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we've been surprised before, but I'd be very shocked if they have an agreement. It might have turned out like where, the game of telephone type thing where someone says something and then keeps building on and then ends up with, oh, he's already signed, because maybe someone in the Dodger front office said, like, we feel like we're the favorites, and then that gets told to someone and told to someone else and just keeps going. I don't think anyone really has a great idea of where Sasaki's going or what he wants to do. A lot of it seems like speculation. Everyone's guessing the Dodgers are the favorites because it's the Dodgers and they have Ohtani and Yamamoto. Other people are saying, like, oh, he doesn't want to play in the small market. Other people are saying he's already signed with the Dodgers. It's just a lot of people making their own guesses and assumptions on things.
Yeah.
So we don't fully know what Sasaki wants. And until we hear from him and until he signs, we're not really going to fully know. We might hear some sliver of truth coming out here and there, but it's just a lot of speculation at this point, and we just kind of have to be patient.
And I'm going to bring this up real fast, and then I want to get your opinion on something. MIL says the Padres went from $0 to over $7 million. So they'll have $6.2 million. The San Diego Padres will have $6.2 million available when the 2025 period opens. So Dodgers will have a little bit less, but the Padres aren't blowing them away in terms of flexing it on the Dodgers and saying they're going to be offering so much more. But Blake, about the kind of the room, the overwhelming news or overwhelming feeling from, I know they've kind of pulled stuff from GMs around Major League Baseball, and the overwhelming majority says that Shohei or Roki Sasaki is going to the Dodgers. Is that something that's just, word of mouth, and that's just if one guy said it, then the next? Is this belief between kind of all of them, matter? Do you think that there's a lot to it, or it's just not that big a deal? Dallas Keuchel came out and said that it feels like it's already a done deal. Former teammate of Roki Sasaki here. What do you say to the GMs kind of giving their input?
I think there's definitely a real belief that he's going to end up with the Dodgers. I think there's real substance to that. It's not just people saying things. Like Dallas Keuchel was saying, he feels like it's a done deal. Sasaki might have talked a lot about wanting to play for the Dodgers in the past, and that's why he's kind of seeing it as a done deal.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'll go back. He's passing up on a lot of money, and the only comparable situation we have to this is when Shohei came over. Pretty much everyone thought he was going to go to the Yankees or the Dodgers, or even the Mariners were in it a lot. And then he ended up going to the Angels because Ohtani ended up saying, like, this is the best fit for me. This is where I want to be. They're going to let me be a DH. They're going to let me pitch. They're going to kind of let me control my own destiny a bit. And he shocked everyone and signed with the Angels. So that's the only kind of comp I think we have for this. So if Sasaki ends up in some random place, it wouldn't totally surprise me. Now, I don't think he's going to like the Brewers or the Rays still, but I mean, if he ends up somewhere that's not expected, it wouldn't be a total surprise. He's passing up on a lot of money, and he's going to make the decision that's best for him.
Yep.
We can all say we think it's the Dodgers, we think it's the Padres, we think it's this team, but we don't really know what Sasaki wants because it's just a lot of speculation at this point.
Yeah. Mike says he wouldn't chase Sasaki, but if he wants it, sure. Why not at his cost? Absolutely. They're not going to have to chase him. Like they've been doing their due diligence, their work for a few years here. They've actively recruited him for a few years, scouted him for a few years. Shohei Ohtani spoke, about like on his MVP acceptance, saying that he's not actively recruiting Roki Sasaki. I think the Dodgers organization is doing it for themselves. They check all the boxes of an organization that is going to, one, they have a 6-man rotation you can directly slide into. You don't have to maneuver too much around them. You're going to have a perennial winner. You're going to have the structure in place, give them all the resources. So aside from the money, which is not, if it's a big deal, it's a big deal. And then we're talking about a couple $1 million, whatever. But I would say, to what the Dodgers provide, it speaks for themselves here. Real quick, I want to bring this up from Laura. We highlighted over this one just a little bit. She says, will today's Sasaki's agent statement make the Dodgers more or less likely to sign Sasaki? Blake, what do you think?
I don't think it matters all that much. Like I said, he's going to sign where he wants to sign and feels is the best fit for him. I mean, his agent might say something like, hey, maybe go to the Padres, but I don't even think that's going to happen. I'm kind of just more joking there. I don't think it's going to change anything. Sasaki's going to pick where he wants to be, and that's that.
Yeah. All right, Chad, do us a quick favor. We're going to prep for the question segment here. All caps question. Toss whatever in afterwards, and we'll get to it. Super chat's the best way. But this is something I want to bring up to Blake because he might drive over here and punch me in the neck. It was reported today that the Cubs would love to trade Cody Bellinger, Blake. They'd love it.
I bet they would.
How much would you hate the Dodgers going out to bring Cody Bellinger back in? Because I think that it takes them away from having chat. You should be on this too. If you've all been getting on Blake and I for talking about Willy Adames here, he said, I knew it, Pinsanity. It avoids them having to dip heavily into that shortstop market and handing Willy Adames big time money. They need an outfielder. They really do. How much would you like it? Or would you hate it?
I'm kind of indifferent. It depends what the cost is. I don't think he's worth the $27 million he's getting. So, like, if you were sending back Chris Taylor and a prospect or something to kind of offset money, sure, I'm all for it. If you're trading straight up prospects to get him, not really for it. It kind of just depends on what the deal we're talking about is for me.
I think it just fits the bill for what they need. They would have to eat. Yeah, people saying they'd have to eat some money for sure. I don't think the Dodgers would be in the camp where it's you just give up prospects and take on all the money, take on all the money just for the less stuff. I think they would go with, a route that's best for them. I'm just saying, guys, proposing a different opportunity. So if you're so against signing Willy Adames and you don't have another way to fix the outfield issues, that's a way to do it. That's all. Chill out, guys. Lay off me. It was just one avenue there. Blake, do you have any wild deals, anything crazy that I would flip out about? You've been kind of low on those this year.
That you'd flip out about? I don't know.
Nothing yet.
Trading Tommy Edman in a Crochet deal, that would make you flip out.
I'd flip out. Insane. Not funny. Not funny.
Not happening. Just for the record, I'm not suggesting that. I'm just answering Scott's question.
Yeah. I won another under the radar name. I'm going to keep bringing it up as like a Matt Boyd signing. If they want some pure buy low guy who has been consistent, then, this last year, who had major upside, started a playoff game, Matt Boyd. Get your lefty. Yeah. People saying not funny. Yeah. Blake, you're not funny. Don't.
I think Tommy. I would do. I don't think they'd get half of Bellinger's contract paid, but if it was like 33%, I think I'd do that. And if the Cubs really want a salary dump, they might.
He was great 2023. He was great. Bellinger has lowered his strikeout rate to around 15% the last 2 years. And from where he was at, like 2027 or 2020, 27% strikeout rate from like 2021 and 2022. That's up there. So just a unbelievable turnaround for Cody Bellinger, and it fits a slot. They need an outfielder. It keeps Tommy Edman versatile. Get him at shortstop. You can maneuver it around. One stop. Go right there. Not going to put too much thought into it. I just thought it was another avenue they could go. I don't know how many moving parts they would have to get it together. We got one more super chat here. Today's historic. I don't know what that is. Tip back all. This is beyond a generational team. I'm privileged to see 4 Dodgers World Series wins, but this is the first Dodger period since 1960s with World Series wins and Dodgers Hall of Fame players. Enjoy. I'm enjoying it every second. It's a historic time. Blake, are you taking in all the media that you can right now? Even though you are media, we are media. Are you enjoying it as much as you probably should be? Because you'll look back in 30 years, we'll be old.
Probably not. I don't think I have watched as much. I missed the Backstage Dodgers episode. I tweeted about them having. I know a lot of people were excited for that one. I've been kind of too busy, I feel like, to actually sit down and enjoy and watch everything. Like I said earlier in the show, the season ended, and then like the next day, everything else is happening. I flew back from New York the next day. Then they had the parade. Then free agency opened and players became free agents. And then qualifying offers went out. And then it was award ceremonies for 2
Back to
weeks,
back.
essentially. And then declining qualifying offers and constant rumors and news and everything. So it's been kind of a whirlwind. But yeah, I'll try and find some time to really appreciate it all and take it all in at some point here.
Yeah. Don't get, 10 years down the road and say, damn, I missed them, the best team that I could have enjoyed. That's why I get on my brother about it. I'm like, dude, this was the most fun season I've ever had, and I'll still keep enjoying it. I'm wearing real quick, I forgot. Oh my gosh. Shout out to Homage, man. Jeff was able to secure these for us. These World Series champion sweaters. Shout out to Homage. They're putting out great, really incredible Dodgers stuff, Dodgers World Series stuff here. So shout out to them. Go support their website, buy some stuff, check it all out. Really great quality. This one I've got on right here. I'm going to rock this thing all the time. Not a thick sweater. There's a lot of stuff there. Check it out. Ahmed, shout out to you guys. We appreciate you supporting the channel, and we'll give back. And I'm sure a lot of supporters will do the same thing there. We got a super chat here from Crass. What's up, man? Will they do Gavin Lux dirty in a trade for Garrett Crochet? Answer it to Garrett Crochet, but will they do Gavin Lux dirty in a trade at all?
I think they'll trade Lux. I'm not are we saying dirty like they're going to trade him to a bad team like the White Sox or something worse? Maybe. If the White Sox want him and you're trying to get Crochet, like Lux, if he's a holdup, that's an issue. Lux should not be the holdup in any deal. So maybe. I think it makes sense. I think with the way things are trending, the Dodgers are going to sign a starter rather than trade for one. But yeah, I could see it happening.
Yeah, I think so too. It all shakes out. Mookie Betts moving to second base, or back to the infield definitely does add another wrinkle here for sure. It definitely puts under the lens of what about shortstop? Who plays shortstop majority of the time? Who's playing second base? Got to be Mookie Betts, right? So I think that it's going to be, Mookie Betts at second base. They're going to have to figure out other stuff. And is Gavin Lux the odd man out? Does he have to learn to become a utility guy? Do they try it again at shortstop? That would make me sick. That would make, not, jokingly, that would make me upset because his issues were throwing woes. I think with Gavin Lux, routine base guy, I think it would be optimal for him to stay at second base. But with Mookie Betts moving back there, I don't want Mookie Betts at shortstop. So I think something's got to give. Glad I don't have to make that decision here. All right.
Yeah. Real quick, there was a report from Ken Rosenthal that Adames isn't necessarily at the top of the Dodgers' plans, and there is a scenario where Mookie or Lux are at shortstop for them this season, which if either of those things happen, I would not be very happy. But yeah, I don't think we can lock in Mookie at second base yet necessarily.
Man, Laura wants me to. There you go, Laura. There you go. That's the one. All right. Cool. Scarlett says, are the Dodgers going to have a bidding war for Kike Hernandez? I don't think they have to get into a bidding war for him.
No. They're going to figure out some deal like 1 year, $5 million or something and bring him back, and that'll be that. I don't think there's going to be any too deep negotiations. I think both sides want him back.
Yeah. We can keep the running list. Chat's got it too. The running list of bringing the band back. Teoscar Hernandez, Walker Buehler, Kike Hernandez. Line him in. Blake Trinan. Good luck in retirement. Kevin Kiermaier. Thanks, man. Daniel Hudson. Thanks. Some reunions that have to happen. But yeah, they're going to have to give out some money. Here. Yep. Blake, give me a question here. We're going to take a couple more, and then we're going to send everybody on their way tonight. Again, shout out to the 1,600 in here. We appreciate you. People saying, I got to see some about Jack Flaherty. Any interest from you about Jack Flaherty coming back real quick?
Depending on cost, sure. I'd take him back over Buehler. I'd probably take him over Max Fried. I think that was a question earlier we didn't get to, just based on like contract status and kind of the health stuff. I mean, I wouldn't mind Flaherty back. I think he fit in pretty well. If they don't push him into every 5th day and keep him on a 6th day, I think he'd be fine. And he's probably not getting more than like 3 or 4 years, so I'm fine with it if that's what ends up happening.
Yeah. Amanda, real quick. No, Blake Trinan is not retiring. Blake Trinan is continuing his journey. You might have just got some words lumped in together there. Kras says, question, is it the first offseason in a while where we don't stress out if we don't sign the top free agent?
No, because Dodger fans will always stress out no matter what happens.
Correct. Absolutely correct. They're going to sign someone like teams. You'd be ecstatic to sign like Willy Adames, but I understand the pause. You'd be ecstatic to sign like Corbin Burns. You'd say he's going to break. His stuff's going down. But I would say or Blake Snell. Like, I don't know what a lot of people have against Blake Snell besides that just the workload just really hasn't been there. He's avoided the injuries, just the arm injuries. The workload just hasn't been there. I think there's enough out there that people will be okay as long as they just get someone. You just have to get better, a little bit better, slightly better. And I think a lot of those concerns, Blake, just came from health. Like the talent was on the roster currently, and it like the guys leaving, like I think you can supplement or just bring back and you stay that, and then the guys that you bring in, in addition to it, that's what makes you better. Definitely. But there are the opportunities, and then the name like, a certain outfielder who's going to get an insane contract, Juan Soto, that people are just going to hinge on. And that's why I'm not hitching my wagon too much to it. I know you are. That's why he's plan 0, and then you move on fairly quickly if it's not in the cards. All right.
Addressing this one real quick, I do
God.
like Walker Buehler. I do like Walker Buehler. I'm just trying to think logically about things here, and we can have disagreements and stuff. That's the Dodgers front office is probably having similar debates about things, and that's how you make good decisions. You don't want everyone just agreeing on the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Do one here. Don Kim, which Dodger Blues staff is most likely to hit a hole in one? Well, not me. I haven't golfed in a long time, and my shoulder will blow up if that happens. I might get back into it, but
Matt doesn't golf, so I guess it comes down to like me or Daniel, and we're probably both gonna say each of us. So like Daniel will say him, I'll say me. If we're being realistic here, it's probably Daniel. He's got a lot more experience than me, but give me like a year or so, and then we'll go back to this one.
Give me a year. Let me test out the shoulder, Blake, and then I'll get on the links with you, and then we'll see how it goes.
This question from earlier was good too. Well, we're related. Which 3 Dodgers are we going golfing with?
You go first. I'll do mine's so low hanging fruit.
Well, for me, it's gonna be Evan Phillips, Anthony Ponda, and Landon Knack, just because I feel like I have the best relationship already with all 3 of those guys from covering the team and everything. So I think that would be a chill, fun day.
Tommy Edman, Teoscar Hernandez, Mookie Betts. I would lose my mind.
Teoscar is a free agent, so you got to pick someone else.
Nope. Try again, buddy. Nope.
Okay.
Thanks for playing. I said what I said. I'd be the best. What a 4 that would be on the links. I'd be slicing them straight into houses. You'd hear glass shattering, and I would have the biggest smile on my face. It'd be great. Yeah, Blake's name dropping over here. Classy, right, Kenny? Yeah, Laura said my team's winning. Too. My team's winning.
Probably.
Yep. Absolutely.
Hello?
All right.
We don't know with both.
Couple of super chats here. Freedom, watching the Yankees completely fall apart. I've done that a lot. I've watched that 5th inning quite a bit. They need to learn some fundamentals. He says, watching the Yankees completely fall apart in front of their loyal fans in Game 5 at 70 years old was quite entertaining. Again, shout out to the support here, Freedom. Thank you. Yeah, one of the worst innings in Major League history on the biggest stage that led to, the Los Angeles Dodgers capturing a World Series in your ballpark in a game you are winning 5-0 with your ace on the mound, that Aaron Judge homers, Giancarlo Stanton homers, and you lose and you blow it.
People might hate me for this, but it felt like something that the Dodgers would have done in different years.
Oh, different years? Okay. I mean,
Like, if you
when
told me
things
that happened in 2022 to them or something, like, it's totally believable.
like during that
2016,
and like the
just something
DS,
before, like, yeah, just like any year before
that's
2020
fair.
or 2024. You told me the Dodgers had an inning like that, and we're like, yep, that's believable.
Yeah. Like in the DS if that goes on for sure. Yes, me said Trey Turner. All right. We'll take this one more super chat here. Call tonight. Rich says for the record, Soto will be sick in this lineup. His offense is off the charts. I have deep concerns with his demeanor. It's that simple. Okay, Rich. That's all right. That's just your opinion. We appreciate that as always. He's a competitor. He's one of the best. We'll see. He's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. It's a lot of money. Simply comes down to money. You get him in house, you'll learn to love him. He'd be as good as it gets, and you would. You'd love him when he's hitting, 40 plus bombs and a top 3 MVP guy. But I can't change your mind on demeanor. That's all. That's really it. Yeah. Don Kim says Scott's reply to Joe McFly's tweet about the Yankees rematch or about the Yankees Dodgers rematch in 2025 was gritty. Yeah, I mean, the Yankees have a chance to get significantly worse this offseason. That's just with losing Juan Soto. Gleyber Torres is a free agent. They've got some holes. They've got some issues going on. So I am thankful that the Los Angeles Dodgers are not in that space just because they have the depth, and a lot of their issues this last year early on in the season purely came from injuries. That was it. And down performance with their role players. That's it. At the end, the root of it, they've got 3 MVP guys. 4, if you want to say, Teoscar Hernandez got MVP votes. It's really funny, man. Yankees should want no part of the Dodgers ever again. Not until they become another, like they establish themselves. Ridiculous. Insane copium. Some of the purest copium I've ever seen. I need to put it in a martini glass. Crazy copium. Thoughts, Blake?
Okay, real quick. I do want to get to like 3 more questions real quick. 2 of them are quick, and one of them's actually a baseball one.
Okay.
So we'll do the baseball one first.
Oh, let's say Andrew Friedman has the willingness to one former Dodger. Who do you tell him to go with? Belly, JT, Jock, or Kenley? Thanks, Scott, for the idea.
I know you like Kenley and Bellinger, which is why I'm interested in hearing what your answer is here.
Or you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Current team, Bellinger. It's Cody Bellinger. He fits. It's not just for me. It just gets people off of the thing of hating Willie Adames, not wanting to give that money out. It kicks the can again. Like it gives you a center fielder who is going to play amazing defense. His offense has been better. He had like a 138 WRC plus in 2023. It went down a little bit. He had some injuries this past year, but you know what you're getting in center field. He's not going to play center field anymore in Chicago because of Pete Crow Armstrong. It's just not going to happen. So it provides them with an outfielder. You can play Tommy Edman where you'd like, platoon how you'd like. A lot lines up there. I think Justin Turner, great story, but I think he's at a point where it'd be better if he was a coach. If he was a pure bench guy, maybe. He's still going to drive runs in. I don't know how much he's going to give you in the postseason. Jock is like the wild card. That's someone he's still dominating right-handed pitching. And Kenley, no, I like the recipe that they had with, having a non-pure closer. That mixing and matching was beautiful. We've been talking for years about how having a set closer is nice, but when you can mix and match a bunch, it's a thing of beauty. So I'm going to say Belly, Jock's a close second.
I think Kenley's my number 1 because they do need to add a high leverage reliever. I think Bellinger does make a lot of sense for the team. I don't love the money cost that he's going to bring. So if you can get him like 50% salary retained from the Cubs, then he probably moves to my number 1 spot. I don't think Turner or Jock are fits for this team. They're both DHs essentially, and they have Ohtani. So yeah, I think Kenley's going to take my number 1 spot slightly ahead of Bellinger due to the salary.
Understood.
And then this one real quick. I got my hat at Dodger Stadium during the World Series. I don't know if you can get it online, but I think it's 47 brand, so you might want to check there. And favorite Thanksgiving dish, just because we're coming up on the holiday. I'm going with a sweet potato casserole or candied yams, whatever you want to call it.
I made some fire roasted potatoes the other night for a Friendsgiving, but I'm going to say green bean casserole clears.
You picked that
Absolutely.
in the draft we did like 2 years ago, I think it was at this point.
That's right. I did.
I was hoping you'd come up with a better opinion by now, but I guess not.
Nope. Ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
Such a hater, man. Such a hater. Why do you gotta hate? Hating on my food.
Hey,
Damn right,
the
Blake.
people
Sweet
know.
M&Ms and marshmallows. Yeah, Shota. Yeah,
people know.
Friendsgiving so early. You gotta, hey, you gotta do with what you can. You gotta make time. I got another one coming up on Tuesday. It's bulking season. My workout schedule quickly went from I'm gonna cut a little bit, but now we gotta add some lbs. We're gonna be putting up some weight. Put some weight in the gym. All right. We appreciate all you guys. Chat, thanks for showing out. We know it was a busy sports night. Really wanted to get some stuff up our chest here. Catch you up to date on the latest Roki stuff. Walker Buehler talking to Dodgers talking to the number one starters in the market and really giving some more flowers and kind of the biggest bouquet to Shohei Ohtani. Caps off a storybook, incredible season. First season with the Los Angeles Dodgers, captures his third career MVP, Blake. This one, unanimous tonight, joins Frank Robinson as the only two players in Major League history to win an MVP in both the American and National Leagues. Blake, give us a final thought, and I'll send us home, buddy.
You didn't prepare me for this. I don't have any.
I love doing this because it's on the spot. You see the gears going. What do you got? All right.
No thoughts, just vibes.
No thoughts, just vibes. All right. Again, my name is Scott Geirman. This is Blake Williams. This is DodgerHeads presented by DodgerBlue.com. Shout out to Homage. We appreciate you guys. Chat, we love you a bunch. We'll tune in with you soon. I'm not sure when because next week, Thanksgiving. And we'll work it around. I'll see if I can make my way on here to another one of the shows, Crash the Party. And Blake, I'm sure we'll be hearing from continued coverage. Blake, I want to give you a lot of love, man, a lot of props. You've been working your butt off this season and into the off season here. So again, everybody give Blake his props. He does a hell of a job. He's a grinder. But again, everybody, shout out to you. We'll talk to you soon. Home of the 2024 World Series Dodgers. We'll see you soon. Go Dodgers, guys.